Hi team, and welcome to my channel Bare Skin and Naked. Bare Skin and Naked is a channel dedicated to human beings talking about the challenges that they've either going through, overcome, or success stories in their life. Bare Skin and Naked is really just that, really pulling back the layers, no clothes on, completely naked and raw, real stories from real humans. My first conversation that I want to have today is, well, first of all, I'm Kirsty Waddingham for people that might not know. My first conversation I want to have today is around suicide awareness. Now, most of you guys probably don't know that I've actually suffered with depression for the majority of my life. I was medicated at the age, I think maybe 16, 17. I was on Prozac for a while, and then over the time, I've come off Prozac and I've tried to manage my depression through other ways, through other channels of exercise, nutrition, and I do a lot of self-development. I'm always a constant project. But what I really want to target is that on January 25th, 2018, was actually a very low day for me, and I almost lost my life to suicide. Now, I want to talk about this for no other reason than to create awareness that people, even like me, who are happy and positive, we could be hiding stuff that you guys don't know. So I want to talk to you about that day. It was January 25th, 2018. I woke up fine like any other day. It was a great day. I got up and I took Chaos for a walk. And as I came back, I seen a flower that had grown through, there was an empty garden bed which I had gutted and we had concrete behind it. Anyway, I come past and I seen this flower blossoming. And I wrote a Facebook status regarding this. Now, what I actually said on that Facebook status, some of you guys might have even seen it, was that I couldn't believe that this beautiful flower had blossomed through all the hardship, the loneliness, the challenges that it faced with the darkness around it, but a beautiful flower had blossomed. And I wrote a status about this on Facebook. Now, on any other day, this may not have affected me, but for some reason that day, it affected me. So I wrote this status on Facebook, and I had a family member make a comment saying something along the lines of, no is just a flower that grew, something along those lines. And then I had 5 people actually laugh at the comment. Now, like I said, any other day it wouldn't have affected me, but for some reason that day it affected me. Because what that meant to me, what that status was really saying was, through all the challenges and the sadness in my life, and 2017 was a horrible year for me. It was probably up there with one of the worst years of my entire life. Now, I will eventually talk about what actually took place in 2017, but this day was just a bad day. And what happened from that moment took me to a whole nother level. So I couldn't get out of my head. I was literally stuck in my head, and all I could think was everyone was laughing at me. Everyone thinks that I'm a joke, and that, I'm a failure to my family, I'm a failure to my friends. Now, never in my life did I think that it would spiral that far out of control, but that day I couldn't get out of it. I actually sat there and I wrote all my letters out to my kids, to my family, and to my friends. Now, I've never come this close to actually going through with an attempt, and that was a really hard day. I was miserable. I kept trying to look at myself in the mirror and try to capture my eyes, because this is the way I got through it. Saying, just one more day. Just get through one more day, Kirsty. If you can get through one more day, if you feel like this tomorrow, then do it. But do not do it now. And I kept trying to tell myself this. But for some reason, that day I could not get out of the low that I was sitting in. So I had treat night with my children. I put them to bed. I fell asleep with them, and I didn't fall asleep, but I let them fall asleep. And then it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I got dressed, and I had done my tan that day. I did my makeup. This was premeditated. This wasn't just that I came out of the blue and decided that this was how I was going to go down, that I had thought about this over and over for a good year. Now, I kissed my children goodbye, and I put my letters out. And you got to understand that that time I could not think about anything other than the absolute pain that I was in. I was tired of struggling. I was tired of feeling so dead inside. And to the world, my life looked absolutely perfect, and it is. It really is. I have an amazing family, a very supportive family. I have 2 beautiful kids that mean the world to me. I had Chaos, who was my absolute everything. Anyone that follows me knows how much that dog means to me, knows how much my kids mean to me. They are my absolute everything. But that day, it just wasn't enough. So I had actually, over 6 months, had actually saved up all my Valium that I got from the doctor. And I went into the garage, and I hopped into the car, and I set everything up, and I turned on the car. Now, I was an absolute mess, and I remember this day, and it will haunt me for the rest of my life. Now, I was, like I said, not thinking about anything other than the fact that I could not get out of my head. And like I said, I kept going to the mirror and saying, one more day. If you feel like this tomorrow, one more day. Now, I turned the music up. But what saved me that day, and I can say this with my hand on my heart, I honestly do not know if I would still be here if it wasn't for this one moment. Chaos went crazy. Okay, he was scratching at the door, and he was howling. He was barking so loud that it literally made me get out of that car, because I did not want my kids to wake up in the middle of it. That's all I could think. And at that moment, when I got out of that car, I had realized what I was doing. Okay, so I think, and I broke down, and I couldn't believe it, but I couldn't get out of my head. And I suppose that's what depression is, anxiety is, mental health is. You are not thinking about anything else around you. And like I said, the world looking in, my life is great. I have an amazing career. I own a home. I have, a nice car. I have great friends and family. I have everything. But inside, I was dying. And I will later talk about 2017, because people don't even understand, where I was coming from. And let me tell you this. Nobody knew. Nobody knew what I was truly going through. My family have only just recently found out. My family knew the next day, 2 members. My mum only knew the extent of how bad this was and what I did that day, a few days ago, when I finally came clean to talk about it. And I knew that the next day, everyone on Facebook would have been like, I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. Because people that are that low and attempt suicide or going through things, 99% of the time you don't know. And there's nothing anyone could have done to save me that day. That dog, Chaos, saved my life. And I can tell you that with my hand on my heart, that dog is like my soulmate. He's a very intuitive dog, but I love my family, and I never wanted to give them the pain of losing me. But at that moment, I felt that I was the burden, I was the pain, and I was so tired of feeling dead inside. So all I ask is this. Look after your strong friend. Go and ask people if they're okay. Take the time out to have a conversation, meet that person for lunch. Because you know what, that one day could be the last day that you ever see them. Like I said, my family had no idea. My friends are only finding out probably when they watch this video now, because I haven't talked about it. I haven't spoken about my pain inside. Depression comes out of nowhere. anxiety comes out of nowhere. Mental health is inexplainable sometimes. But all I want you to do is take away from this is that even the most positive, happy, down to earth people, the people that would give anything to not see you in pain, could possibly be going through their own things, could possibly be suffering from mental health, could possibly be suffering from depression, anxiety. Please, all I ask, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I'm just creating awareness that even the most positive, happy people could be going through things. So thank you for listening. I hope you start following my channel, Bare Skin and Naked. There's going to be a lot more talks about what I've been through in my life. And eventually, and then I'll talk about the solutions and how I've overcome situations as well. So thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it and love you all.